Hello everyone, this is our question and answers in the Surfalytics. This is Dmitry, and today I will answer the next questions from subscriber. The question was about use of SQL and NoSQL databases. So it's a bit confusing, and then you start work with data analytics. You can think about, there is databases, but the databases could be SQL and NoSQL. What is it, the NoSQL? And some people tell that it means not only SQL or NoSQL. Technically, it means it's usually non-relational databases. It just, we used to work a lot with relational database. In my lesson about history of analytics, last 30 years, I talk a lot about relational databases, about Azure code, about the SQL, ANSI standards, and so on. So this is the paradigm that we'll all live now. Then we talk about NoSQL. It's like new class of database, and there could be document database, there could be graph databases, or like several different types. The idea here for you as a person who works with data, either data engineer, data analyst, BI engineer, analytics engineer, you don't need actually to learn those tools. I know there are a bunch of stories and the companies trying to use NoSQL database for their primary data analytics, data warehouse storage, for example, using MongoDB for this purpose. So the primary idea here is exist relational databases. It should be clear. It's the SQL, it's the tables. Usually you have the joins between tables. And it could be like different normal forms, the third normal form, or normalization, denormalization. Everything is clear. All BI tools work with those kinds of databases. So, and I just, one more time, I put on the board. So this database, like this, right? We basically load data in these databases. This process calls ETL. And we can, this database, relational database, SQL database, because data warehouse. Here we can have in other databases that we usually call like online transactional processing, OLTP, and they are also relational SQL databases. So everything works fine, even if you will just use the plain SQL to extract the data and push the data in this database. Could be the Postgres, could be the Postgres SQL Server, MySQL. They're all like three, the most popular, and actually we're going to cover them in Surfalytics model 2. In case, for example, you're running your online business, you can have those application databases connected to your backend of the websites, backend of mobile apps. But the challenge is they might cause performance issue. And this is very well-known fact that relational databases, they actually not handle high load. Of course, there is like, you can say, no, it's probably you have the bad engineering team. Yeah, but the thing is that there are better databases that can handle this kind of load. For example, NoSQL database, and we can talk about one of the most popular open source product, MongoDB. So MongoDB is storing JSON documents, and for example, you can think about you have mobile application, right? The users can do any kind of work with this database, and it should put some data somewhere related to this user. Every time the user open mobile application, they should very quick load all user profile, all the stats and everything. And then they do some work in the mobile application, they do some changes. It should write back to database. And in this kind of NoSQL databases, you can basically partitions by the user ID. So, and it has the documents related to the user ID. And you can basically instantly get informations for the user ID from this database. There is another database like Key Vault and, not Key Vault, but Key Value Pairs. It could be Graph for social media. So they build for particular use cases. And probably you can find the tons of books and materials how to handle each kind of the database. The thing is, for data analytics, we usually focus here. Maybe integrations or maybe BI part. For you, what you should care about, that you should be really calm about this. 95% of your use case will be related to the SQL database. The only use case that might be related to NoSQL database, I'm talking about traditional analytics, data warehouse, data engineering, it's actually how you're going to extract data from backend databases, for backend of website. For example, in Amazon is running on backend DynamoDB, with like, I don't know, different mobile application can use different databases. Recently I had the use case, then mobile application was integrated with Cosmos DB. It's the Azure NoSQL database. For myself as a data engineer, the only thing I care how you're going to extract the data. Basically, you only care how you're going to load the data from here, right? You can use, for example, if we talk about Cosmos DB, you can use the Cosmos DB SDK, write the Python code and just pull the data into JSON format. You even can use the Fivetran to extract the data from all kind of NoSQL database. You can use the Trino open source as a SQL engine to connect SQL and NoSQL databases. The only thing, as I said, you should care how you're going to extract the data. Maybe sometimes you need to actually troubleshoot some data in data warehouse in report, and you may need to connect this database using API or CLI, and you actually need to use syntaxes, how to pull the data for particular user and verify this. But that's it. The main use case, how to get this data. That's why in your head you should get with most of the cases SQL database, relational, tables, everything, or different vendors, cloud, on-premise, whatever. And usually organizations, they can use NoSQL database for backend, for various particular use cases. And then you might need to extract the data as a data engineer, or maybe as a data analyst, you need like just pull the sample data, analyze the data, and so on. For example, I know if you work in the companies related to social media, you probably need the graph database to visualize all dependency between things. But this is a completely different story. I hope you answer your questions about SQL and NoSQL. And now you have some food for thought. And actually, I'm doing in the Model 2, I will do hands-on with SQL database and hands-on with NoSQL database to actually try how they work. Bye.